Good evening. Welcome to our Year 12 pupils, our students and our parents, and thank you for tuning in. I promise that will not take that long, but I do want to use tonight as a way of highlighting a number of key pieces of information that will help you and your son or daughter to make it through Year 12. And hopefully not just get through, but get through with the grades that they need to move on to bigger and better things. The past 2 academic years have undoubtedly been tough, with one of the outcomes being that the GCSE and equivalent assessment processes have had to change. We will talk through this with you as part of this presentation. I want to show you this slide right from the start. I know the fact that you're here tonight shows that you're very much part of that tripod of support, and a young person or any of us will struggle to succeed on our own. We may all fall. Parents can't do it for them, school can't do it for them, but together, combined, we will do it. So Year 12 students, we are in this together. Although this isn't a lesson, I do want to take a few seconds just to highlight the learning outcomes for this evening, or in essence, the reason for you being online with us. This evening should raise awareness of final year GCSE challenges, highlight examination dates, and identify course and assessment changes. So Year 12 is shorter than Year 11 always is, and one of the key dates I'll show you in a minute has study leave starting in early May. Now that is still our intention, but we do have to be prepared to be flexible. Last year the Year 12 pupils remained with us until the end of May. Under normal circumstances, would be more than halfway through the course. In many subjects this is the case, but changes to what is being assessed may require us to teach a greater amount of subject content this year for the final assessment purposes. Again, I'll look at this in the next slide or two. We do have assessment results from Year 11 internal tests or exams. These hopefully will only be needed for the normal tracking and progress purposes, but I should say that in the event of the Minister for Education instructing schools to not run exams or return to centre determined grades, this may help us predict grades as we just look at the holistic ability of students. We really do hope that it doesn't come to this. Based on what I've just shared, none of our Year 12 pupils have therefore sat external GCSE exams at this moment in time. Communication has also come in from SEA regarding the exams that will take place this year. These are planned for November, February and the normal summer series of May and June. The Minister has indicated that they are considering contingency plans in the event of cancellations. I imagine that they may go along the centre determined grades route again, but we will let you know if there's any change for the plans for pupils to undertake actual GCSE external exams. A key change is that one unit will be omitted from most GCSE subjects for assessment, but must still be taught. This will be decided between the teacher and the students. If I give you a couple of examples, or one example, the GCSE history is made up of 2 units. We teach Unit 1 in Year 11 and Unit 2 in Year 12. Now, Mr Hargey has decided that the best route for our pupils will be to use the Unit 1 learning as an area to be assessed come the summer series this year. Other subjects have made similar adjustments to history, while a number such as maths and English have been asked to assess the same, or for English slightly less, but not an awful lot less of the content. So the breakdown of the overall individual subjects we will put together as part of a booklet, and that will be sent out to you via our Sims app, and also be available on the school website, which, as I'm sure you know, is ballymoneyhigh.net. With a number of our occupational studies subjects, we've been given the option to omit one of the 2 units that make up the overall grade. It may be that we include both units, as this may create a better overall mark, or it may be that the better option for the individual student is to use just one. Again, this will be discussed on an individual basis. The Minister for Education has released a statement that the grading will be generous in application this year. So this is obviously to allow for the impact of COVID-19 lockdowns and other disruption caused. I'm not trying to bombard you with too much information, but I do believe it's important for you to get these dates in your diaries or pinned to the calendar on your fridge, or however you keep a track of your year. We're starting with engaging our local medical centre in early October, so both the boys and girls will have a stress management workshop. We recognise this is a tough year, and we want to make sure that everybody is as well equipped as possible to deal with the stresses and strains that come with it. This leads us conveniently into our rearranged Mach 1 timetable, running from the 14th to the 20th of October. This will run alongside the normal school timetable, as many students will have a limited number of examinations, and therefore will not want to lose time and continue to make progress with their occupational studies, the portfolios, maybe with those, their BTEC learning, other GCSE courses. We've also changed the date of our Year 12 Parents Consultation event. Now, sadly, for COVID reasons, the event will be run through our school cloud website. And this is simply a pre-booking system that gives you a 5-minute face-to-face conversation with your child's teachers. It can work through a mobile phone, a tablet, or a laptop. Again, booking details will be sent out close to the time via the Sims app. If this year goes to plan, the second mocks will take place in March, with then students having a mock results day, an event designed to allow them to experience opening the envelope and then having that conversation about what the future holds. Now, normally, as part of this presentation, I'd ask Mr. Donaghy to talk to you regarding careers. We have decided to keep this shorter for now, and that we will run a more detailed presentation later on in the year, focusing on careers and our post-16 offer for September 2022. You'll see I've also included study leave and work experience with a question mark. So, as I've said earlier, the 9th of May is our plan, but we need to make sure that we finalise that as the year moves forward. We also normally have a week of work experience at the end of November. Again, we'll make a final decision based on Public Health Agency and Department of Education guidance, and we'll let you know. As regards to the external or GCSE exams, we do now know that dates that are fast approaching. Science exams will take place on the 22nd and 23rd and 24th of November at 9:15 in the morning, and those are for both double and single award science. If your son or daughter is studying double award science, they will sit Unit 1 in all 3 subjects. If they're studying single award, then the exam will be sat for the subject that they're currently studying. The other subjects will then be assessed in February and then May, and that's the normal summer examination series. The Unit 1 GCSE English exam will take place on the 26th of November at 9:15 AM in school. We also have a window for the speaking and listening, but SIA will give us a firm date soon, and this will only impact a limited number of pupils. Maths is a subject that principals across Northern Ireland have expressed concerns around. So as not to dilute the qualification, SIA are insisting that the whole course is assessed. All our pupils will therefore be assessed in an M1 to 4 module, and then an M5 to 7 module. We recognise this puts a significant strain on pupils, but believe it is important to take the assessment opportunities while they exist. This will also allow us to identify pupils' strengths and areas for improvement within those modules, and then teach in a bespoke manner for specific resets that will hopefully happen next year. Lots of dates here, so this may at some stage change, but you may want to pause the presentation and just take a note of those for now, or you can always come back at the end. Communication is always vital, and I just wanted to, I've mentioned the Sims app a couple of times. I just want you to make sure that you are on that and it's working for you. If you are experiencing any difficulties, please give the school office a phone call. We can try and reload it. I'm going to change the focus at this point to look at supporting our young people and identifying some of the common pitfalls that can come in the way of our young people as we move through year 12. This slide simply shows us that success is the tip of the iceberg. So much has to go on quietly underneath the surface. So be dedicated to your learning and to achieving your goals. Establish good habits and not only allow you to work hard, but work smart. There will be disappointments along the way, but with persistence, any failures that come along can be eradicated. There might also be the odd sacrifice, perhaps something that you need to put aside for a few months, a job or a hobby. I do urge caution with this one, as it is important to continue to enjoy life and have things that allow you to de-stress or relax. This slide is the deadly D's, and it appears a fairly negative slide, and I suppose if you put the word don't in front of the first four words, then disappointment should be avoided. So don't delay. Pupils need to be starting now to think about the exams, mocks in only a few weeks' time, to get going. Don't be in denial. If results haven't gone so well and you're telling yourself it'll be okay at the end of the day, be careful. Or think that you are guaranteed a C just because you got a C in an exam in year 11. Don't be distracted. Look for small scale distractions in the class, at home when you should be concentrating, or over a longer period, such as maybe being distracted by your social life, a job, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, etc. Don't drift, just cruising along, keeping the head down, trying to not be noticed so that you don't get hassled, etc. And disappointment, hopefully this will be avoided. One of the recommendations from the Department of Education for pupils is that we encourage a growth mindset in our whole school community. Now, this is something that certainly isn't new to Ballymoney High, and anybody with maybe older children that have been through the school already may have seen this slide in previous events. By looking at some of the examples with me, you can see it's trying to turn around words and ultimately, and more importantly, mindsets into a can-do approach. So instead of saying, I'm not good at this, try using, what am I missing? Or if I move down the list to the third example, it's good enough. Really change that to, is this really my best work? Can I encourage you now to pause this recording and take a look at all the suggestions? Hopefully it will help us all as we try to find ways around learning and assessment over the next few months. Why should we all encourage our children, our young people to revise? Well, here's 4 simple reasons. We can help them to avoid the deadly D's. It can reduce panic, gives them control and confidence. It means exams reflect what they can do, not what they didn't bother to do. And it can help them to identify problem areas. Ultimately, it's the route to success. So the concept of a revision timetable certainly isn't new, but it's worthwhile, and it's something that we can all help with. The school homework diary has a sample one that can be created, or pupils have the facility to make copies using their printer codes in school, and they can be enlarged as well. As parents, we can help them to work out how much time they have and be realistic. No point in planning to revise at a certain time every night if that's a time when something normally happens in your house. Also important to get them to take into account their ideal day and time of day to work. When will they revise? When are they in the best frame of mind to revise? Break it down to make it seem manageable. Revising for GCSEs sounds a lot of hard work and is very unspecific. Doing a past paper for a particular subject is much more doable. This slide is fairly straightforward. Sometimes devices can be useful for revision purposes, perhaps recording and playing back answers, or revision websites and questions. However, something won't be right if a phone is with us more often than not. A good study space is something that's very important, and I appreciate that space can be at a premium in many homes, but having a go-to place for students to revise is essential. A number of other factors highlighted here make their revision experience much more comfortable and ultimately more productive. Again, can I encourage you to pause the recording and read the advice that's highlighted on the slide. So if I move back now to speaking directly to our students, I've identified 5 key tips for learning. Space out your learning. Don't leave it all to the last minute. Use the revision timetable and start as soon as possible. Ask your teachers what you should be revising at home if they haven't told you already. Create a sense of purpose. Why are you revising? What's the final outcome? Use the growth mindset. I can do this. Test yourself. Very effective in improving your memory. Get others to test you if you have somebody. Teaching it. Explain what you're learning to a willing listener. This really does work. Sleep well. So important to recharge for the next day. Having a good routine and sticking to it. I think that's massive. My idea of revising when I was at school was to sit and just read the stuff mindlessly for hours, and consequently I didn't do very well. Past papers, revision booklets, sample questions, keep actively listening and assessing yourself as you work through. Again, Year 12 students, use the help available. After school revision classes, stay behind as much as you can, get your hands on and use as many examining board materials as you can. Past papers, revision booklets. As I mentioned before, ask your teachers for help. They love to help out when somebody wants to learn. Take on board and use some of the tips I've shared today or other things shared by teachers and parents. Carefully planned, organised and smart revision will be worth your while. I wish all of our Year 12 pupils every success this year. You deserve to succeed after what you've had to endure in Year 10 and 11 lockdowns. Give this year your best shot, and I look forward to celebrating with you in August. Thank you for listening.